Hello, I'm at Washington Hall, a beautiful Grade 2 Georgian manor house set in 3 acres of mature gardens and woodlands just 2 miles from centre of Lincoln. My name is Deborah Goodall and this is session 1 on market intelligence. So, what is market intelligence? Basically, it's a fancy name for knowing everything you can possibly know about your customers. Quite often, I'll talk to clients and they'll say to me, I sell to everyone. Everyone could buy my product or service. In reality, you sell to a segment of everyone. Your product or service is not going to appeal to everybody. So for example, you might have a cottage, and to be able to reach the right people, to be able to sell your accommodation at that cottage, you'd be looking for people who are looking for a UK holiday, and then they're looking for self-catering, and then they're looking for something in Lincolnshire. And then they might get specific about the location. So do they want to stay in the city of Lincoln? Do they want to be on the coast? Are they perhaps looking for something rural on the Wolds? Do they need it to be family friendly or dog friendly? Do they need somewhere to store bikes? Are they looking for a wood burner, a hot tub? Does it need to have Wi-Fi? Or maybe they need to have no Wi-Fi. So really, once you've whittled down all of those categories, you're just selling to a segment of everyone. And it's really important that you understand your customer as much as possible. By starting to focus on what your customer wants and who your customer is, you can use messaging that will really motivate them. It'll get them to book their accommodation with you, for example. It'll get them to recommend you to their peers because they're your likely customers too. It'll help you deliver an experience that'll keep them as your customers in the future. If you're satisfying their needs and requirements, then they're more likely to come back. Ultimately, knowing your customer will help you acquire more customers like the ones that you already have. And by having that focused approach, you'll be able to reduce your marketing spend by being much more strategic. So my favourite book is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Bear with me, this does have relevance. In that book, Atticus, one of the main characters, says to his daughter Scout, you never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it. I think this is so relevant in marketing. It's really important that you metaphorically climb into the skin of your customers and walk around in it. You need to see things from their point of view to be able to really understand them. Ultimately, your customer is your business, and without them, you don't have a business. So knowing everything that you possibly can will only help your business grow. So what do you need to know? Well, it's a bit of an endless piece of string, really. Quite often businesses will say to me, oh, well, I'm business to business, or I'm business to consumer, and therefore I don't need to know all this information. Ultimately, you are selling to an individual, and even in a business to business environment, it is an individual you are dealing with. They might have a more complex decision-making unit, but you are still tapping into their personal motivations as much as you are with selling business to consumer. So there's all the really obvious basic stuff, you know, gender, age, location, you know, potentially job status, gives you some idea about levels of disposable income. Then it's important to understand their media consumption. So what media are they reading, watching? What social media channels are they using? How are they going to find out the information that they want to know? Think also about the language they use. How do they describe what you offer? You need to speak in the words that will resonate with them, not use jargon. Think about what devices they use. Are they going to be doing research for your offer on a mobile phone? Does that limit the amount of words you might want to think about using? Are they sitting at a desktop? Is it something that you can be very wordy with because they're going to be quite comfortable reading it on a big screen? Think also about their purchasing patterns. Are they likely to be a repeat customer? Are they super loyal? Will they keep coming back? Or is it just a one-off purchase? If it's a one-off purchase, are they likely to recommend you to their friends or colleagues? And then it's important to get into what are their buying goals. So is it sort of a routine behaviour, or is it something more experiential? So are they just looking for somewhere to stay, or are they looking for somewhere to stay that offers a beautiful environment in which they can relax and disconnect from the day-to-day world? So are you just providing a function, or are you providing an experience? Their motivations for buying are also important, and it is so important to focus on the benefits that you can offer. So quite often in marketing we talk about the features of something and the advantages, but then you need to go that little bit further and talk about the benefits that you can offer them, and then start and think, well, so what? So what does that mean? What do you want people to do once they understand what the benefit is? Then it's also important to understand about your customers what objections they might have to buying. And quite often, people will come back and say, oh, it's price. In reality, price is very rarely the objection, but the more you know about what the objections are, the more you can deal with those objections, either in the copy on your website or when you're having a chat with people. It could be things as simple as accessibility. It might be that people can't book their accommodation online. It might be that you only offer check-in until 9 p.m. Then finally, there are pain points. So these are things that come as people are actually in the buying process, but then something that you do or say or don't offer switches them off and they just go somewhere else. So this could be things like tech issues. So they can't make that booking from their mobile phone. They have to send an email or they have to ring up. They can't see what the availability is. They can't get an electronic ticket. Sort of think about actually what is really going to put people off once you've got them into that process, and start and understand your customer in a lot more detail. So knowing all of this information can help feed into the development of your key marketing strategies, which will help you attract more customers. And typically what I find is that most businesses have between 3 and 5 different customer types. And this isn't an exercise that you can do in 10 minutes. This is quite a big undertaking. So I'd suggest, you think about it for quite some period of time to build up these customer personas. Once you've kind of got through who those customer personas are, it's really key to understand what the reason is that customers choose you and not your competitor. So I'll leave this session with you thinking about what is your business's reason that makes you stand out and will make customers choose you and not your competition. So that concludes session 1 of 2 on market intelligence. I hope you found the session interesting and useful.